Hi, welcome to the lecture, guys. In our previous lecture, we saw how to create a file object, how to add and read contents from the file. And in this lecture, I'm going to talk to you guys more about the read and write functions again. So I'm going to quickly show you guys the more functions you can use with the file objects, which can carry out different operations. And with that said, let's get started. But before that, I need to show you guys how my file is set up. So my file is in G Drive, and I've got just one line written in the file. So let's see how to use more functions on this file. So firstly, create a file object. So I'm going to use the open inbuilt function. It takes two parameters. The first one is the path to the file, which is G drive for my case, and it's called test.txt. And let's see the read functions first. So I'm going to open it in read mode, and to read the contents of the file, to read all the contents of the file, so you just read the read function. So when you press enter, that's going to read the complete data which is already in the file. The other function which I want to talk to you guys is the read line function. So if you type the file, the object, and then if you type read line, that's going to read just one line from the file. So if you press enter, that should have read a line from the file, but since that you've already read all the contents using this function in your previous instruction, that's going to set the cursor to the end of the file. To move the cursor back to the place where you want it to be, you're going to use another function called seek. So if you type file.seek, and then if you specify 0, that's going to take you to the beginning of the file. So that's the number of bytes you want to shift the cursor to. So if you press enter, and if you use the file.read line now, that's gonna read one line from the file. Now let's add a few more lines to this file. Let's say this is my second line, third line, then fourth line. And if you save it, now let's see if this works. So first I need to close the file, then reopen it because I just saved it. And so I'm gonna call it file.open, and right. So if you type file.readline now, just to show you guys that it just reads one line. So if you press enter, so that's the first line. Another function which I want to talk to you guys is the read lines function. So if you go back to the beginning of the file, and then if you type file.read lines instead of read line, that's going to read all the lines, but it's going to create a list of each line. So the first line is the first element in this list, and the second line is the second element in the list, and it just goes on. So the delimiter is the new line character, which is \n. So whenever it finds a \n in the line, it just puts the next line as the new element in the list. Now using this function, you can edit the lines and then put it back to the file. So let's see how to edit the content which is already in the file. So I'm gonna quickly close this file and reopen it in write mode. Oh, actually, I'm gonna save this data into a variable and then reopen it in write mode. So I think that would make more sense. So to save the contents to a list, so let me just type list data equals to file dot read. First I need to change the cursor, so file dot seek 0, and then list data equals to file dot read lines, and that's going to create a list, and that's saved into this variable. Now let's use the write function to put this content back to the file. Before that, let's just quickly edit one of the line. So list data, and let's edit the third line, so that's 2 equals to let's say um, third line edited. Now if you close the file using the close function and then reopen it again using the write mode, so that's G drive test and then write mode. So now you can write the lines back to the file. I'm gonna quickly close this file because it's using it from the Python shell. So file dot write lines, and then you just pass the list as the parameter. So that's list data. Now it's gonna write all the contents that was in the list data to the file. Now remember, the list data, the third element didn't have a \n, so the fourth line and the third line will be concatenated, if that's right. So if you open the file here, actually you need to close the file. So if you type file.close and then if you reopen the file, that's going to give you the edited line, and since we didn't put the \n, the fourth line and third line has been uh, concatenated or joined. So this is how you use a couple of other functions with the file object, which gives you uh, more ability to carry out more certain operations. And that's all for this lecture, guys. Let me know if you guys have any doubts. I feel this lecture has been a bit long one compared to other ones, but yeah, I want to talk to you guys about these functions because it's pretty important. So that's all for this lecture, guys. Let's see what we have in our next lecture. Until then, bye.